Welcome to News at 10. I'm Brenda Lepol. Now, all primary school pupils will attend school without rotation starting 17 April. Senior Minister of Education, Dr. Razzie Jidin, said schools in states under Group A will start on 17 April, while schools in states under Group B will start on 18th April. In a video posted on his Facebook page today, he said pupils who were attending school on a rotational basis now can return and attend sessions in full, provided with everyone's adherence to the standard operating procedures SOP.
Yang paling penting adalah pematuhan semua anak-anak serta guru-guru di sekolah ini kepada SOP yang telah ditetapkan. Walaupun kita bergerak dalam fasa peralihan kepada endemik, tapi kita masih perlu kekalkan SOP-SOP yang telah ditetapkan. Jadi pematuhannya adalah amat penting, terutamanya bila semua murid hadir ke sekolah tanpa penggiliran.
Group A covers schools in Johor, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu, while Group B comprises Selangor, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Perak Perlis, Pulau Pinang, Sabah, Sarawak and the Federal Territories of Kuala Lumpur, Labuan and Putrajaya. The government will continue providing the subsidy for Hajj pilgrims this year, despite the hike in costs for performing the Hajj, as reported yesterday. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Dato' Idris Ahmad, when giving the assurance, however, said the government had yet to decide on the amount of subsidy to be given to Hajj pilgrims. The minister said he would discuss with Lembaga Tabung Haji on the cost of performing the pilgrimage for Muassasa Hajj pilgrims before presenting it to the cabinet that would make the final decision on the matter.
Subsidi akan kita bagi, insyaAllah. Kita akan beri subsidi. Nanti berapa kita bagi nanti dulu, kita maklumlah. Nanti saya tak boleh umumkan benda itu masih embargo. Ya, akan diputuskan kabinet yang akan memutuskan. Sekarang menjadi embargo lagi lah.
On Hajj quota, Dato' Idris said the government is still waiting for an official announcement by the Saudi Arabian government. He said this after the Federal Territory Hospital Welfare Fund contribution presentation ceremony at Hospital Putrajaya earlier today. A week since Malaysia entered the transition into endemic phase and reopened its border to international travellers, infectivity rate in the country remains under 1. As of yesterday, the national R0 value was at 0.83. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, in a tweet on his official Twitter account, informed that Selangor recorded the highest R0 value of 0.96. Negeri Sembilan was placed second with R0 value of 0.84, Putrajaya 0.82 and Melaka 0.80. The state with the lowest value was Kelantan with 0.65. 11,994 new COVID-19 infections reported yesterday. A total of 6,509 cases, or 54.27%, were in Category 1. 5,395 cases were in Category 2. 40 cases in Category 3, 22 cases Category 4, and only 28 cases, or 0.23%, were in Category 5. Meanwhile, 16,603 individuals have made full recovery from the virus as of yesterday. The success of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program, PICK, has ensured that almost 98% of COVID-19 cases suffered only mild symptoms. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, in a Twitter post today, said, in the current transition to endemic phase, these cases required only self-isolation at home without being referred to hospitals. Elaborating further, Khairi said a total of 97.6% of COVID-19 patients underwent quarantine at home, 0.2% at COVID-19 quarantine and treatment centres, 2% in hospitals, 0.1% at intensive care unit ICU without using ventilators, and 0.1% at ICU with the use of ventilators. According to Khairi, monitoring by the Virtual COVID-19 Assessment Centre was made through the MySejahtera application, which required patients to fill in the Health Assessment Tool, HAT, twice a day regarding their symptoms. He added that more than 70% of COVID-19 cases at home filled in HAT every day, and this data was used to identify cases which deteriorated and needed to be referred to hospitals. If the HAT data of COVID-19 patients showed sharp deterioration, a notification would be sent offering patients the option of going to a health facility. The government has disbursed 20.64 billion ringgit to 357,639 employers through the Wage Subsidy Program PSU as of 25th March this year to retain 2.96 million local workers and reduce the unemployment rate among Malaysians. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said 322,177 employers and 2.64 million employees benefited from PSU 1.0 through the Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package Prihatin and the Short-Term Economic Recovery Plan Penjana, which saw approved wage subsidy applications reaching 12.95 billion ringgit as of 25th March. Commenting further on the matter, the minister said under PSU 2.0, as of the date mentioned, a total of 1.407 billion ringgit had been channeled to 81,133 employers to continue operating and maintain employment for 718,336 employees. Meanwhile, for PSU 4.0 as of 25th March, a total of 2.471 billion ringgit has been channeled to 159,571 employers to continue operating and maintain employment for 1,878,549 employees. He also said a total of 75.659 million ringgit has been channeled to 3,908 employers to maintain employment for 66,096 employees for PSU 5.0. Meanwhile, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said the government, through various ministries and government agencies, would continue reskilling and upskilling efforts for 2022, with a total allocation of 1.1 billion ringgit, targeting 220,000 job opportunities. The number of unemployed persons in Malaysia has declined further by 1.3% to 671,000 in February from 680,400 in January this year. According to the key statistics of labour force in Malaysia, for February this year, the unemployment rate edged down to 4.1% from 4.2% in January. The statistics also showed the continuous improvement in employed persons, with a month-on-month increase of 0.3% to post 15.73 million persons in February compared to 15.69 million persons in January, while the number of labour force continued to rise by 0.2% to 16.40 million persons in February from 16.37 million persons previously. Commenting on the statistics, Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair Mahidin in a statement today said the strengthened labour force situation in February this year was prompted by the continuous operation of all economic and social activities during the month. On the unemployment situation in February, Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Uzair said the actively unemployed or those who were available for work and were actively seeking jobs comprise 83.7% of the total unemployed persons. Out of the total actively unemployed, the unemployed persons for less than 3 months encompass 56.7%, while those who were in long-term unemployment of more than a year made up a share of 7.3%. The number of unemployed youths aged 15 to 24 lessened by 2.1% to 356,000 in February from 364,500 in January. The Terengganu branch of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, KPDN-HEP, took action against 18 chicken traders recently, including wholesalers and retailers. Its director, Saharuddin Muhammad Kia, said they were slapped with a total compound value of 6,600 ringgit during Op Pantau from the 3rd to 7 April. He said they were hauled up for various offences such as cheating with regard to prices and selling chicken above the ceiling price set by the government. Inspections on 1,935 premises were conducted in Op Pantau, held in conjunction with Ramadan, of which 18 offences were recorded. Briefing reporters in Kuala Terengganu today, he reminded traders not to take the opportunity to raise prices of goods arbitrarily during the fasting months and Hari Raya Idul Fitri celebration, as price monitoring is being carried out more frequently and stern actions will be taken by enforcement officers. Apart from that, Saharudin said 42 traders had also been charged with violating the Keluarga Malaysia Maximum Price Control Scheme and slapped with compounds totaling 9,100 ringgit. And yet to come, MACC detains 8 suspects in connection with 2.3 billion ringgit graft case. Stay with us. But first, former Deputy Prime Minister Dato Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi can now travel to perform his Umrah after the Kuala Lumpur High Court today allowed his application for his passport to be released. High Court Judge Dato Colin Lawrence Sequeira granted the UMNO President's application after lead prosecutor Dato Raja Rosella Raja Toran said the prosecution had received instruction not to object to the application. She further said, as the dates Dato Sri Ahmad Zahid needed to perform the Umrah clashed with the trial dates of 26 to 28 April, the vacated days should be replaced with new dates. Earlier, lead counsel Hisham Teh Pok-Teh said the defense hoped that the passport would be released today as he needed it for his visa application. Justice Sequeira then fixed 13 and 15 April as well as 1st July as the substitution dates for trial. On 13 April, Dato Sri Ahmad Zahid will testify in his defense trial on 47 charges of criminal breach of trust, corruption and money laundering involving Akal Budi Foundation funds. He was ordered on 24th January by the judge to enter his defense on all charges after finding that the prosecution had succeeded in proving a prima facie case. In October last year, the High Court also allowed a temporary return of his impounded passport to enable him to seek medical treatment from a leading specialist in Munich, Germany for back and neck pain. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has remanded 8 individuals in connection with a 2.3 billion ringgit graft case involving a government-linked company, GLC. The remand order against the suspects, aged between 35 and 45, was obtained today at 2 separate magistrates' court in Putrajaya and Kuching, Sarawak, respectively. In Putrajaya, 4-day remand applications for 2 individuals and 5-day remand applications for 4 others were allowed by Magistrate Shahwira Abdul Halim. In Kuching, Magistrate Zubaida Sharkawi allowed a 5-day remand order for 1 individual and a 2-day order for another individual. According to a source, the suspects include the Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Executive Officer, Director and owner of a company believed to have been involved in corrupt practices in projects belonging to a GLC with an estimated total contract value of more than 2.3 billion ringgit between 2017 and 2021. The source said all 8 suspects were arrested at the MACC headquarters and MACC Sarawak office between 1:30 p.m. yesterday and 12:30 a.m. today. A number of items were seized, including 10 luxury vehicles, cash in various currencies amounting to over 27,000 ringgit, more than 50 pieces of jewelry and gold bars, 15 luxury watches and 13 luxury handbags, while 12 company and individual accounts were also frozen. MACC Senior Director of Investigations, Dato Sri Hishamuddin Hashim, confirmed the arrests. He said the case is being investigated under Section 17 of the MACC Act 2009. A man has been arrested with 4.5 kilograms of heroin worth about 158,203 ringgit near an oil palm plantation along Jalan Teluk Intan Bidor in Hile, Perak. Perak Police Chief Datuk Mio Fadila Trashwa had said the man was walking along a road when he was stopped by police at about 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Briefing reporters today, he said 10 packets of what is believed to be heroin were found in a bag the man was carrying. Police believe he has been trafficking drugs for the past 3 months and police are trying to track down other members of the syndicate.
Kita juga mengambil tindakan di bawah Akta Dadah Berbahaya Pelucut Hak Harta 1988 di mana JSJN Perak telah menyita sebuah motorsikal bernilai RM2,000 dan nilai keseluruhan rampasan dadah bersama harta yang disita adalah sebanyak RM160,000, 203.15.
Dato' Mio added that the seized drugs can be used to feed the habit of about 10,000 addicts. He said the suspect tested positive for morphine and had 2 previous offences related to drugs. The suspect has been remanded for 6 days from yesterday for investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. A Malaysian man suspected of attempting to smuggle 15 illegal immigrants was arrested in an operation in Bakong, Kelantan last night. The 15 detainees, including 2 women, were travelling in an MPV when they were detained by the General Operations Force (PGA) around midnight. PGA 7 Battalion Commanding Officer Superintendent Azhari Nusi said the vehicle carrying the illegal immigrants was heading towards Machang when PGA personnel spotted it skidding off the road at about midnight. Upon inspection, the personnel found 13 men and 2 women inside the vehicle, with neither of them possessing any valid travel documents. Initial investigation suggested that the foreigners, all from Myanmar, were meant to be sent to Machang to work at several construction sites in the district. Investigation also revealed that the 35-year-old local man is a transporter and was hired by human traffickers to send the foreigners to the designated location and was paid 200 ringgit for each immigrant. The foreigners, aged between 14 to 43, as well as the local, were being held for further action. The case was being investigated under Section 26J of Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007. A female taxi driver was charged at the Seremban Sessions Court today with exploitation of a man by using him for begging last year. Nurul Hidayah Madnor 30, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge before Judge Datin Surita Budin. According to the charge sheet, Nurul Hidayah is alleged to have trafficked in and exploited a 27-year-old man under Section 27, subsection C of the Minor Offences Act 1955 by asking him to beg in public places when he was capable of doing other jobs. The act was allegedly committed in Seremban and Senawang between May and 7th November last year, an offence under Section 12 of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007, which provides a jail term of up to 20 years or a fine or both upon conviction. The prosecution was conducted by Deputy Public Prosecutor Nur Azizah Aling, while the accused was represented by lawyer Harish Mahadevan. Nurul Hidayah was granted bail of 15,000 ringgit in one surety and is required to report to the nearest police station once a month and to stay away from the victim until the case is disposed of. The court fixed 24th May for mention of the case and submission of documents. Coming up in sports, national athletes reminded not to worry about COVID-19 situation in Vietnam. Stay with us. Athletes who will take on the national challenge at the 31st SEA Games in Hanoi are reminded not to worry about the COVID-19 situation in Vietnam when the Games kick off next month. Although Vietnam has been recording an average of more than 70,000 positive cases a day, Malaysian contingent chef de mission to the Hanoi SEA Games, Dato' Nur Azmi Ahmad, said, based on his visit to Hanoi last month to review preparations for the biennial games, the situation there was still under control.
I think atlet no need to worry lah. Yang penting atlet kena jaga diri mereka sendiri. Kita tak boleh nak harap orang Hanoi, orang Vietnam nak jaga kita. Kita kena jaga diri kita sendiri supaya kita terawal. Dan saya pun ada berbincang dalam bersama dengan Presiden. Kita pun tak allow our atlet keluar kecuali pergi ke kejohanan. Sebenarnya ni. Selain pada tu dia be in the hotel. And MSN pun telah aturkan makanan halal dengan saya lebih bimbang dari segi medalist. Tanggungjawab pengurus kena bimbang dari segi SOP keselamatan atlet dan juga pandemik COVID-19.
At the same time, he was also satisfied with the cooperation given by all sports associations involved in the Games this time and assessed that they were ready to bring the Malaysian challenge to Hanoi. Despite his reluctance to put any pressure on athletes to achieve success in Vietnam, Datuk Nur Rasmi stressed that the SEA Games should not be deemed as an outing after not being able to compete abroad following the COVID-19 pandemic over the past 2 years. Wrapping up the news at 10 and a top story, rotation system lifted for primary school from 17 April. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Till then, it's lights out. I'm Brendan Paul. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM. Salam Keluarga Malaysia and have an awesome weekend.